Shavua Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Ketubot. We are up to Perek Bet, Mishnah Bet. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'ilui Nishmat Neria ben Svetlana, Ranbayev Eliyahu ben Bulcha Israel ben Chana bad Miriam, Menuchatam began Eden, Amen, and Avdir ben Chaim Nechaim, for the Refuah Shelemav Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, Betor Shah Chole Israel. The following Mishnayot deal with the rule of Migu. This rule states that if a person involved in a dispute makes a relatively weak claim when he could have made a stronger claim, for example, one that is more credible or that gives him more rights, the claim that he is making is probably true. The logic is that if he were lying, he would have made the stronger claim. So the fact that he made the weaker claim shows that he is telling the truth. In the previous chapter, in chapter 1, Mishnah 6, Rabbi Yehoshua ruled that if a woman is found to be a non-virgin, we reject her claim that she was violated after Erusin, despite the fact that the rule of Migu supports her, for she could have said that she was injured by a piece of wood, which is a better claim for her in that it does not make her prohibited to Kohanim. If a married woman, even in Arusa, cohabits with a man other than her husband, she acquires a status of Izunah, who make Kohen is forbidden to marry. This is so even if she was violated against her will. So the woman that we discussed in chapter 1, Mishnah 6, who said that she lost her virginity through having been violated during Erusin, will never be allowed to marry a Kohen. The rule of Migu tells us to believe her because she could have made a claim that would not have rendered her forbidden to Kohanim, that she lost her virginity through an accident with a piece of wood, as the Gemara says on page 12b, Masechet Ketubot. The following Mishnayot teach that although Rabbi Yehoshua rejects the Migu in that instance, he accepts the Migu in some other cases. The first case concerns two people who are arguing over a field. One of them is currently using the field. For example, he is growing crops there, or he is living in a house situated on it, and the other claims that he is the rightful owner, having inherited it from his father. Rabbi Yehoshua agrees that if this one, the current user of the field, says to his fellow, the challenger, this field was indeed your father's, but I bought it from him, he is believed. Because the mouth that prohibited the field is the same as the mouth that permitted it, meaning by admitting that the field was owned by the challenger's father, he prohibited the field to himself because on the basis of these words alone, the field belongs to his challenger. Since the user admits that the field was previously owned by the challenger's father who is now deceased, the court should award the field to the challenger who takes the place of his father. Generally, when there is a dispute about land, the court awards it to the last known owner even if someone else currently has it in his possession. For example, he is farming it or living there. In order to keep the land, the current user must prove that the last known owner sold or gave it to him. In this respect, land is different from movable objects. When someone is in possession of a movable object that had a previous owner, he may keep it even if he has no proof that it was sold or given to him. His very possession of the article indicates that it belongs to him. However, if someone has been using land for at least 3 years without being challenged, we assume that it belongs to him and he does not need to prove that he received it from the previous owner. Our Mishnah refers to a person who used the land for less than 3 years, and it should therefore be returned to the previous owner, to his heir, unless the current user can prove that it is his. So again, by admitting that the field was owned by the challenger's father, he prohibited the field to himself because on the basis of these words alone, the field belongs to his challenger. However, he then added that he bought it from the father, which permits the field to himself because according to this claim, it is he who owns it. Since he could have avoided the prohibition altogether by saying that the land was always his, the rule of Migu tells us to believe him when he applies the prohibition and then removes it. Had he said that the field never belonged to a challenger's father, he certainly would have been allowed to keep it, since in that case we would not know who previously owned the land, the current user or the challenger's father. The court would let it remain with the person using it. In the Mishnah's case, however, where we know the land previously belonged to the challenger's father, since the user admitted this, the land should go to the challenger. Nevertheless, the Mishnah rules that the user may keep it, since he made a relatively weak claim by saying it was your father's but I bought it, when he could have made a stronger claim by saying it was always mine. The rule of Migu tells us to believe him. This Migu is superior, is better than the Migu of the non-virgin who claimed that she was violated after Erusin. even if she had actually made the better claim that she was injured by a piece of wood, she still would have not been believed and she would not receive 200 zuz according to Rabbi Yeshua, as stated in chapter 1, Mishnah 7. In our Mishnah's case, however, if the person using the field had said that the field never belonged to his challenger's father, he would have been awarded the field. Since he could have made a claim that he would have won the case for him, and yet he chose not to, there are strong grounds for assuming that he is telling the truth. Even Rabbi Yeshua generally rejects the rule of migu, agrees that this stronger type of migu is valid. We refer to the strong type of migu as a pesha asar or a pesha etil. The mouth that prohibited is the mouth that permitted, meaning the person who said that there is another prohibition, the land belongs to someone else, is the very person who said that there is no prohibition, he bought the land. Since he could have avoided creating the prohibition in the first place, he is believed to remove it. If, however, there are witnesses who testify that it once belonged to the father of the challenger, and he says, I bought it from him, he is not believed. In this case, he does not have a migu, because he could not have claimed that the field never belonged to the challenger's father. Without a migu, we have no reason to believe his claim that he bought it. And that is on the botai of Mishnah Bet. Mishnah Gimel now presents another example of a strong migu, a pesha asar, a pesha etil. The mouth that prohibited is the mouth that permitted. This one involves a document that records a financial transaction or obligation. We're going to use the example of a document that records a loan. The person named the document as the lender can use it to collect the stated amount from the person named as the borrower. However, in order for the document to be effective, it must be signed by at least two people who witnessed the loan. If the borrower claims that the signatures were forged, the lender must verify the signatures. This can be done by having two people who are named in the document as witnesses testify that the signatures are indeed their own. The Mishnah deals with several instances in which the witnesses confirm that the signatures are theirs, but add that the signatures are invalid for some other reason. Ha'edim she'amru, if the witnesses said, Ktav yadenu hu zeh aval anusim hayinu, this is our handwriting, but we were forced to sign and we did not witness the loan. Kitayim hayinu, or if they said, this is our handwriting, but we signed when we were minors, whose testimony is not valid. Pisulei edutayin, or if they say this is our handwriting, but we were disqualified from giving testimony at that time. For example, they said that they were related at the time of the signing to the wife of the lender or the borrower. She was then divorced, so that they are currently fit to give testimony on the case. Hare'elu ne'emanim, in each of these cases, they are believed to say that their signatures have no value. Since they could have made a strong claim, we never signed the document, but made a weak one instead. We signed, but our signatures are invalid. They are believed according to the rule of migu. Once the signatures on a document are proven to be authentic and not forged, the document has the full power of regular testimony. Just as the testimony of two witnesses cannot be challenged, so too a verified document cannot be challenged. For example, the borrower is not believed to say that the witnesses who signed the document did not see the loan, or that they were too young when they signed. In fact, even the witnesses themselves are not believed to make any such claims, because the rule is that after witnesses have given testimony as they did when they signed the document, they cannot retract it. In our Mishnah's cases, however, the witnesses can disqualify the document because they have a migu. Had they said that the signatures were not theirs, they would certainly have been believed, because in that case, the document would have remained unverified. Instead of making that winning claim, they made a weaker claim. For instance, it is our handwriting, but we were forced. Had they wanted to lie, they would presumably have made the stronger claim, which would have guaranteed them success. Therefore, we believe them even when they make the weaker claim. This type of migu is valid even according to Rabbi Yeshua. However, if there are other witnesses who confirm that this is the handwriting of the signers, or if their handwriting was confirmed from some other source, for example, their signatures on this document are identical to their signatures on a document that has already been verified, they are not believed to say that their signatures are invalid. Since in this case they could not have made the stronger claim, we never signed it, they have no migu to support their weaker claim that the signatures are invalid. Without the migu, we do not accept their claim the document is invalid, because even the witnesses themselves are unable to disqualify a verified document. The document is therefore effective and can be used to collect the loan recorded in it. And that is the Nabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Everybody should have a Shavua Tov. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.